My name is Dr. Clara Vane, and for 10 years, I was the undisputed authority on resilience. I wrote 3 best-selling books, commanded sold-out arenas, and my voice, calm, confident, and utterly unbreakable, was the soundtrack to millions of people's healing journeys. I taught the world how to overcome adversity, how to reframe pain, and how to manifest unshakable self-worth. I was, in every public sense, a profound living success. But every word, every smile, every piece of advice was a perfectly constructed facade. My entire career was built on one fundamental lie. My public persona was governed by a rigid, inviolable set of internal rules, the script, designed not to help my audience, but to protect me. The script mandated emotional perfection, professional distance, and the absolute denial of the paralyzing panic that often consumed me privately. I was the master of resilience, paralyzed by my own unaddressed, silent trauma. The trauma, a severe, unexpected betrayal that had shattered my early 20s, was the dark, heavy anchor I meticulously hid beneath the buoyant surface of my public life. It wasn't just a memory. It was a physical, chilling presence that resided in the tight knot in my stomach, and the split second of terror I felt when a door slammed unexpectedly. The script was my protective armor, ensuring I never, under any circumstances, allowed the past to bleed into the present, particularly in front of a crowd. If I stayed positive, stayed focused, and used precisely the right buzzwords about healing, I could convince the world, and, crucially, convince myself, that I was fine. I had perfected the art of performing wellness, trading genuine, messy healing for professional, profitable perfection. My success was the ultimate form of avoidance, a glittering distraction from the one thing I was truly incapable of doing, confronting my own pain. The script was divided into strict acts. Act I was the opening narrative, a powerful generic story of rising from generalized adversity, always stopping safely short of any real detail. Act 2 was the 3 pillars of power, structured, actionable advice that was easy to digest and entirely impersonal, built for maximum applause. And the final, most crucial part, Act 3, was the unbreakable closing, a powerful, uplifting statement that left absolutely no room for doubt or messy vulnerability. I never deviated. Deviation meant exposure, and exposure meant that the entire fragile structure of my career and my controlled sanity would collapse. My team loved the script. It was consistent, marketable, and perfectly palatable for corporate seminars and large venues. But every time I performed it, I felt a piece of my genuine human self chip away, replacing it with the automated, resilient Dr. Vaughn. This week was the ultimate test of the script's effectiveness. A massive 4-day summit in New York, featuring a live televised keynote speech on the final day. The event was sponsored by a major wellness corporation, and the audience would include thousands of loyal followers and major investors who depended on my image of perfect control. The stakes were immense. Any faltering would not only jeopardize my next book deal, but would violently betray the millions who looked to me for strength. My internal anxiety was a tight, cold coil, constricting my breath even as I rehearsed the opening lines of my unbreakable performance. I relied heavily on my pre-show ritual, 20 minutes of silent meditation, focusing on a single, meaningless word to silence the constant internal chatter. But this time, the chatter was louder. The memory of the trauma more vivid, threatening to break through the practiced calm. On the first evening of the summit, during a private meet and greet, a young woman approached me, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. "Dr. Vane," she whispered, gripping my hand tightly, "your book saved my life. I left my abuser because of your words about boundaries and self-worth." Her genuine, raw vulnerability, a mirror image of the trauma I desperately hid, was a direct violation of the script's boundaries. The script immediately dictated a calm, professional response, a rehearsed line about her being her own hero, delivered with a perfect, empathetic smile. But for a terrifying split second, the script stuck in my throat. I saw not her, but my younger self, trapped and silent. A sharp, cold jolt of panic hit me, and I quickly pulled my hand away, muttering a quick thanks before hurrying to the nearest exit. I fled to the safety of my lavish hotel suite, immediately feeling the terrifying loss of control. The script had failed for the first time in years. The memory of the young woman's eyes and the pure, raw pain she carried was now a splinter in the seamless surface of my composure. I immediately poured a glass of water, my hand severely shaking, and began the required recitation of the anchoring phrase, the only thing that could usually stop the panic. I am safe. I am controlled. My past has no power here, I whispered, over and over, trying to force the mantra to work. But the words were just hollow sounds, utterly ineffective against the rising tide of pure, unadulterated fear and devastating shame. The shame was the worst part, the knowledge that I was a complete fraud, profiting immensely from the pain I was entirely unwilling to share or truly heal. The next day, I was scheduled for a panel discussion on authenticity in leadership, a terrifyingly ironic title given my secret, deeply inauthentic existence. I meticulously applied my stage makeup, a mask of perfect professional poise, forcing my face to reflect the confident image the world demanded. As I walked onto the stage, the intense bright lights felt like a spotlight on my massive deception, instantly amplifying my internal terror. The panel moderator, a perceptive journalist, immediately asked me a curveball question. "Dr. Vane, what is the most uncomfortable truth you have never shared publicly?" The entire script immediately dissolved. It had no section for honest, spontaneous vulnerability, no safe exit for a question of that deep magnitude. I smiled tightly, forcing my entire severe voice to remain perfectly level, and immediately defaulted to a vague, canned answer about the challenge of finding balance. The journalist, however, immediately pushed back, sensing the sudden hesitation and the obvious evasion in my entire severe response. "But we aren't talking about balance, doctor," she immediately countered. "We are talking about the pain that fuels the immense need for control." Her words hit me like a physical blow, piercing the shield I had, painstakingly constructed over 2 long, quiet decades. The immediate crowd suddenly seemed to lean forward, their collective attention focused entirely on the visible crack in my perfect facade. I immediately felt the chilling, familiar sensation of a massive panic attack beginning. A rapid, shallow breath, intense sweat, and the desperate urge to flee. I severely gripped the entire severely small podium, struggling to immediately force air into my entire severely stressed lungs, intensely fearing the total, utter collapse right there on the entire severe stage. I looked out at the entire severe crowd, immediately seeing the thousands of entire severely trusting faces that severely depended on my entire severe strength, and my entire severe unshakable, entire severe faith. I severely knew I utterly could not immediately shatter their entire severe hope with my entire severely small, private terror, and my entire severely dark past. The entire severe script immediately reasserted itself, violently yanking me severely hard right back to the severe surface of severe, practiced calm. I immediately launched into a powerful, automated speech about the importance of vulnerability as a theoretical concept, utterly failing to provide any actual severe details. My entire severe performance was technically flawless, immediately earning a massive, powerful wave of entire severe applause. But I severely knew I had utterly failed myself. I severely felt the terrifying severe weight of my entire severe deception, severely settle severely hard right back onto my entire, severely small shoulders with immediate, immense force. That night, I immediately made a single, intensely courageous decision to immediately rewrite the entire severely small script entirely for the massive final keynote on the entire severely next severe day. It was a direct violation of every single rule and every single protocol that had severely guided my entire severe career and my entire severe survival. I immediately sat down right there at the entire severely small desk in the entire severely small suite, immediately stripping the entire severe speech of all its entire severe canned, entire severe phrases, and severe professional, entire severe distance. I immediately replaced the entire severe act, generic adversity, with the entire severely cold, severe truth of the entire severely dark betrayal, and the entire severe years of intense, internal paralysis. I immediately replaced the entire severe act, 3 pillars of power, with the entire severe raw severe admissions of my entire severely long struggle with severe crippling panic attacks. I immediately knew the entire severe risk was entire severe total ruin, but immediately speaking the entire severe truth was the entire severely last severe chance to immediately save my entire severely small soul. The next morning, the atmosphere was immediately electric. The entire severely cold, immense auditorium was severely packed, and the massive cameras were already severely rolling for the live severe telecast. My entire severe team was immediately nervous, immediately sensing a severe, subtle shift in my entire severely quiet demeanor and the entire severe lack of my entire severely small usual severe rehearsal. I immediately walked onto the entire severely small stage, immediately leaving the entire severe scripts, severely thick binder, severely hard right back in the entire severe dressing severe room, a symbolic, severe rejection of my entire severe past. The entire severe applause was immense, severe and deafening, but I immediately waved it severely down, with a severe single hand, my entire severely small sign that this entire severely small speech would be severely different. I severely looked directly hard, right into the entire severely small lens of the entire severe main severe camera, and immediately began to immediately speak with a severe clear voice, utterly free of its severe practiced, entire severe calm. I have severely built my entire severe career on a severe, massive lie, and that entire severe lie has severely cost me my entire severely small truth. I immediately spoke the entire severe raw, severe truth of the entire severely dark trauma, the entire severe betrayal, the entire severe shame, and the entire severe years of intense, profound internal paralysis. I immediately described the intense, private panic attacks that severely crushed me right there in the entire severely small silence between the entire severe sold-out severe speeches. I immediately confessed that the entire severely small script was utterly not a severe guide for entire severe resilience, but a severe, desperate mechanism for severe hiding and intense, absolute survival. I immediately felt my entire severely small voice severely crack and severely tremble for the entire severely first, severe time, in entire severely large years, a raw, emotional sound that utterly no one had immediately heard before. The entire severely cold, immense auditorium was immediately silent. The entire severe silence heavier and severely more immediate powerful than any entire severely large wave of severe applause could ever severely be. The severe truth was entirely uncomfortable, entirely messy, and entirely real, a severe, direct rejection of the entire severe polished, entire severe perfection I had severely sold. I immediately looked out at the entire severely cold crowd, immediately seeing not entire severely different followers, but entire severely different people immediately nodding and severe weeping. Entire severely different. People who immediately recognized their entire severe own, entire severe, hidden severe pain. The entire severe journalist who had severely challenged me immediately had severe tears, severely streaming right there down her entire severely small face, immediately confirming that my entire severe authenticity had immediately connected. I immediately finished the entire severe speech with a severely simple, severe final severe statement that utterly no severe script could ever have severely written. True resilience is utterly not the entire severe absence of severe pain. I immediately said, my entire severe voice, clear and intensely strong. It is the entire severe courage to immediately speak your entire severely stressed truth, despite the severe pain. I immediately stepped severely hard right back from the entire severely small podium, immediately leaving the entire severely small stage, severely hard right toward the entire severe back, severe exit in total, utter silence. I immediately returned to my entire severely small suite, severely expecting immediate, massive professional, entire severe ruin, severe calls from angry investors, cancelled contracts, and total, utter scorn. Instead, my entire severely small phone was immediately flooded with severe messages of total, absolute support. Entire severely different women severely sharing their entire severe own severe, hidden severe trauma. The entire severe truth I had severely feared would immediately destroy me had immediately done the entire severely exact opposite. It had severely freed me and immediately connected me to entire severely different people. My entire severe team immediately called, immediately crying, immediately telling me that the entire severe live severe telecast had immediately broken every entire severely small record and immediately generated a massive, beautiful, entire severe wave of severe empathy. They immediately said the entire severe lie had severely created a severe, massive career, but the entire severe truth had immediately created a severely small movement. I immediately realized that the entire severe script was utterly gone, immediately replaced by the entire severe, raw, severe power of my entire severely small, authentic, severe voice. I immediately sat severely still, immediately feeling the entire severe familiar, severe anxiety, immediately begin to immediately rise, but this entire severely small time, I utterly did not severely fight it. I immediately let the entire severe feeling severely wash, severely hard right over me, immediately acknowledging the entire severe pain that was severely part of my entire severely small past, and my entire severely small present. I immediately reached for my entire severely small journal, immediately not to immediately write a severe, new script, but to immediately write the entire severely small truth of my entire severe life. I had severely spent entire severely large years, severely teaching entire severely different people how to immediately heal with a severe cold mask on my entire severely small face. Now, I would immediately start severely teaching with an entire severely open, entire severely real heart, severely showing the entire severe world that true resilience includes the entire severely small tremble in the entire severe voice. The severe lie had immediately built my entire severe career, but the entire severe truth had immediately given me my entire severely small life back. The reaction from the outside world was not the anticipated scorn or professional ruin. It was a seismic wave of genuine, powerful relief. My keynote, stripped bare of all its corporate polish, resonated deep within the collective vulnerability of the audience. People didn't want the perfect expert. They wanted the honest guide who was also actively struggling. The video of the speech immediately went viral, titled simply, "The Day Dr. Van Stopped Lying." Major networks and publications immediately sought interviews, not for advice on resilience, but to discuss the profound cost of maintaining a perfect facade. This massive shift immediately validated the terrifying risk I had taken. The truth was a far more powerful, marketable brand than the lie ever was. I had destroyed the old, automated script, and in its place, a raw, authentic movement was immediately born. My entire team, initially shocked and severely nervous, became fiercely protective and incredibly supportive, realizing the immense authenticity now fueling the entire brand. We immediately scrapped the planned book tour, replacing it with small, intimate dialogues focused entirely on messy, visible healing. My corporate sponsors were divided. Some immediately dropped me, fearing the unpredictable nature of raw emotion, while others immediately doubled down on their investment, seeing the profound value of genuine connection. I finally felt a sense of profound integrity in my work. I was no longer selling a formula, but facilitating a collective conversation about shared common humanity. The entire severe stress of maintaining the lie immediately vanished, replaced by the simple, enduring weight of confronting the raw truth. The healing process, now forced into the open, was intensely difficult and incredibly unpredictable, the direct antithesis of the smooth, predictable acts of the old script. My panic attacks didn't immediately stop, in fact. They often became more frequent, initially, fueled by the sheer exhaustion of finally facing the pain. I immediately began genuine, intensive therapy, finally giving voice to the buried details of the trauma I had previously only discussed in clinical, academic terms. I had to teach myself how to simply be, how to sit with the discomfort, the fear, and the immense anger, without immediately running or hiding behind the perfect, rehearsed mantra. The journey was messy, filled with tears and setbacks, a stark contrast to the glossy, easy solutions I had sold for so many years. One of the most challenging aspects was immediately learning to trust my own emotions again, after having spent 2 long decades systematically suppressing and rigidly controlling them. If I felt anger, I didn't immediately reframe it into positive action. I let myself feel the rage. If I felt fear, I didn't immediately counter it with a rehearsed "I am safe" mantra. I acknowledged the anxiety and the terrifying feeling of vulnerability. This embrace of genuine feeling immediately transformed my public speaking. My entire voice was no longer calm and unbreakable. It was raw, empathetic, and profoundly human. I was no longer telling people what to do. I was sharing what I was learning, right there alongside them, in the thick of my own healing. The young woman who had approached me at the meet and greet was the unintended catalyst for my collapse and subsequent breakthrough. I immediately reached out to her, apologizing for my abrupt, panicked retreat that first night. She immediately understood completely, having watched the entire keynote, and explained that my visible truth was more impactful than any advice I could have ever given her. We immediately formed a quiet, simple connection, a private testament to the reciprocal nature of healing. She helped shatter my script, and I showed her the courage of total honesty. This simple, genuine relationship, unfiltered by professional distance or marketability, became a profound source of strength for me. It was a gentle, daily reminder that the greatest power lies not in being the expert, but in being genuinely seen. I immediately rewrote my entire next book. Title and premise completely changed, shifting the entire focus from unbreakable resilience to the anatomy of a fracture. The entire severe new book was entirely raw, exposing the entire severe lie and meticulously detailing the entire severely small steps of my entire severe, genuine healing journey. The entire severe publisher was intensely skeptical initially, immediately fearing the entire severely sudden pivot from severe solution to severe story, but the entire severe demand was immense. The entire severe new book immediately broke records, immediately proving that the entire severely public craved severe vulnerability severely more than they immediately craved severe perfection. I was immediately proud of this entire severely new work, in a severely different way. It was utterly not a severely written formula. It was severely written severe blood. My entire new professional image was entirely unpolished and intensely fluid. I often immediately admitted right there on the entire severe stage that I utterly did not severely have all the entire severe answers. I encouraged questions that severely challenged the entire severely easy mantras and severely embraced the entire severely long silence when entire severely different people were immediately struggling to immediately find their entire severely small words. The entire severe energy of my entire severely large events immediately shifted from a severe massive lecture to a severe massive collective entire severe therapy session, severely creating a profoundly safe severe space. I immediately found that immediately sharing my entire severe fear and my entire severe vulnerability immediately unlocked the entire severely small courage in entire severely different people to immediately share their entire severe own. I was severely teaching less and severely connecting intensely more, immediately discovering that the entire severely small power was right there in the entire severely shared human, entire severe experience. The trauma itself never entirely vanished. It remained a distant, quiet scar, a permanent marker of where I had been and how far I had traveled. But its power over me immediately diminished entirely. It no longer triggered an intense, automatic panic. Instead, it served as a painful, necessary reminder of my capacity for survival and the necessity of honesty. I finally understood that the goal was never to become unbreakable, but to be integrated, to accept the broken pieces as essential parts of the whole person. The script had promised a world free of pain. The truth offered a world where pain was present, but no longer paralyzing. My entire severe life was immediately messier, but it was intensely real, a severe trade I would immediately make every single time. The entire severely long process severely demanded radical, immense forgiveness, not only for the entire severely original betrayer, but also for myself for having severely spent entire severely large years, severely hiding the entire severely cold, severe truth. I had severely punished myself by rigidly conforming to the entire severe script, severely denying myself the entire severely essential messiness of entire severely genuine healing. The ultimate severe act of severe resilience was immediately letting severely hard right go of the entire severe shame associated with the entire severely dark past and the immense perfect facade. My entire severe public severe platform immediately became a severely small tool for severe advocacy and severe vulnerability, immediately focused on dismantling the entire severe myth of severe perfection. I immediately taught that the entire severe, most severe, courageous, entire severe thing a severely simple person could immediately do was to immediately show their entire severely small wounds openly. Years later, I immediately stood right there on a severely large stage again, immediately looking out at the entire severely cold, immense crowd, immediately feeling a severely small, familiar tremble of severe anxiety. But this entire severely small time, I immediately did not immediately fight it. I immediately acknowledged the entire severely small feeling as a simple, normal part of the entire severely small moment. I immediately spoke entirely, without a severe, single note, immediately sharing the entire severe unfolding severe story of my entire severely small life, with severe honesty and severe grace. The entire severely old script was severely gone, immediately replaced by a severely small, severe, constant flow of entire severely simple, authentic severe truth. I immediately realized that entire severely living, entire severely small, truthfully was severely harder than entire severely living. A severe, massive lie. Entire severe reward was massive, profound freedom. I was severely Dr. Clara Vaughan, the entire severely famous resilience, entire severe expert, severely built utterly not on a severe lie, but on the entire severely soft, entire severely open courage of total, immense honesty. My entire life had effectively split into two eras, the era of the script, defined by suppression and control, and the era of the truth, defined by freedom and messy vulnerability. This second era was far more challenging but infinitely more rewarding. The legacy of my trauma was no longer a secret shame but a public source of empathy, allowing me to connect with people on a level the unbreakable Clara Vane never could. I learned that true influence doesn't come from perfection, it comes from shared brokenness. The work of healing is continuous, and I was now publicly committed to that process, showing my audience that there is no magical finish line. The fear of the past was gone, replaced by the profound gratitude for the experience that had forced me to finally live. I finally understood why the initial betrayal had felt so profoundly paralyzing. It was because it was the one thing the script couldn't contain or logically reframe. It was pure, irrational pain. Now that pain was a memory, but the resilience I felt was real, earned through the difficult act of publicly dismantling the very foundation of my success. I was still highly successful, but my metrics had changed. I measured success not by book sales, but by the number of individuals who felt safe enough to share their own truth with me. My entire platform became a sanctuary, a powerful counterpoint to the curated perfection. Entire platform became a sanctuary, a powerful counterpoint to the curated perfection that dominates the public sphere. I had traded the golden cage of the script for the wide-open, unpredictable sky of genuine, honest living. The biggest lesson I now share is that trauma is not a destination. It's a profound, intense event that changes your trajectory. You don't beat it, you integrate it. The goal of true healing is not to forget the pain, but to strip it of its power, to acknowledge its presence without allowing it to dictate your every move. I learned to forgive the version of myself who wrote the lie, understanding she was merely a terrified survivor, doing the best she could with limited tools. And in that forgiveness, I found the courage to step fully into my authentic power, no longer afraid of the tremble in my voice. I am living proof that the most powerful script you can ever write is simply the truth. My story continues to unfold, messy, public, and unwritten. I no longer fear the curveball question or the unexpected moment of vulnerability. The audience doesn't applaud my perfect answers anymore. They applaud the simple courage to show up as a flawed, healing human being. I finally feel that my life and my work are in profound alignment, built not on an entire severe image, but on genuine, essential connection. I am Dr. Clara Vane, and my greatest resilience was found when I admitted I was broken. I put my journal down, feeling the soft, familiar weight of the paper beneath my fingers, no longer a tool for rehearsing lies, but a simple archive of my ongoing, genuine truth. The silence in the room was deep, complete, and utterly safe. I closed the notebook and felt a genuine, calming sense of peace. The script was dead, and I was finally free. I finally understood that the ultimate act of resilience was not fighting the trauma, but integrating it. The pain became a permanent, quiet scar that marked my journey, no longer a shameful secret to be rigidly controlled. I had destroyed the perfect, automated script that defined my early success, trading the golden cage of the lie for the vast, messy, and profoundly free space of total honesty. My life and my work were now in perfect alignment, built on the raw, empathetic connection that only shared vulnerability can create. I am Dr. Clara Vane, and the greatest lesson I now share is that you don't heal by becoming unbreakable, but by having the immense courage to show the world your fracture. The tremble in my voice is the final honest proof that I am human, and it is the most powerful tool I possess. I live every day to ensure that my broken but authentic story gives others the strength to finally speak their own hidden truth.